Okay, first question, what is your name and what do you want to be remembered for when you die? So, my name is Thabo Khanyile, and the second part of that question, I'd like to get to that at the end of the video. How does it feel to finally be a graduate? I would say mainly my feeling when I became a graduate was more relief, more relief and happiness than anything else. I felt like there was a huge weight that was just taken off my shoulders because there's always this pressure of, graduating in record time and performing in your third year of varsity and finally clutching up in that final moment just makes you feel happy and relieved. So I'd say most of the feelings I felt were happiness and relief. What advice would you give a first year or a current student? So the advice that I would give to a first year student is enjoy first year. This is your year to go out, play around, play games, do everything you want to do. But at the same time, that doesn't mean don't pass. So you have more time on your hands to do the things you want to do. But this also, at this point, this is going to be the easiest part of your varsity career. Because I remember when I was in first year, the jump from first year to second year is mind-blowing. You go from, it's like going from gear 1 in first year to gear 5 in second year. So what I would say is enjoy your first year, but keep this mentality of you working hard and trying your best so that the jump from first year to second year isn't too overwhelming. What advice would I give to a current student? Honestly speaking, to the current students, if you're still there, no matter what happens, no matter how many bad marks you get, just push through, because in the end it's going to be worth it. Just work hard, have some discipline, and just push through. What helped you get to graduation, and what would you recommend for us still in the fight? So I'd say the main thing that helped me graduate was more so discipline and wanting my degree badly, because at the end of the day, you've got to want it badly in order to achieve it. So one thing I said to myself at the beginning of the year is, this year I want to finish my degree no matter what the cost. So obviously we had to, because of the pandemic, we had to sacrifice a lot of our social life and everything like that, and of course cabin fever and everything was affecting a lot of us. But one thing that helped me get through, helped me graduate, was during this time I treated the weekdays as if it was a normal school day. So I'd wake up at 8 and I'd finish everything, all my lecture videos, etc. by the time I needed to finish them, which was at around, I would say, 2. And I would keep that constant cycle, and I'll keep that going, and make sure that I was disciplined in that fact. I stayed on par with my schedule, and yeah. So for you guys still in the fight, I would say, again, try as hard as you can, stick to a schedule. Try not to fall behind, because if you fall behind, it can be very easy to fall into this trap of, oh, I'm so behind, and it gets very overwhelming, and you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're stressing yourself before a test, because this will do you more negative than it would positive. What is the most challenging part of getting your degree, and what helped you get through it? I would say the most challenging part was this is a tough one. I would say the most challenging part, obviously, in my third year was the whole COVID situation, where we lacked social interaction and everything like that. So I was suffering from cabin fever, a lot of cabin fever. So for me, the hardest part was knowing that my place of stress was now also in my home, because normally my place of stress was varsity at wits, and then I would come home and I'd feel some sort of relief. But now, because this had changed because of the whole pandemic, my place of stress was now my home, because I was just working constantly from home. So I would say that was one of the most challenging parts that one of the most challenging things that I had to deal with. And overall, just the intensity of the whole degree as a whole, because the workload is a lot. You always have to be on par with everything you're doing. You always have to keep up with the work, or else you'll find yourself falling way behind. And that's something that I only realized come my second year and third year. So I realized that you need to just carry on pushing and staying on par with your work, no matter what, no matter how difficult it may be. And I think just the degree as a whole and the whole COVID situation was what made the degree most challenging. If you were to start again from first year, what would you do differently? So in first year, I was very playful, and obviously I got away with it simply because my marks weren't reflective of the way I behaved. So I wouldn't go to lectures. I wouldn't I would just miss a lot of lectures, and I'd play around a lot. So I was very complacent in first year, and then I carried on this mentality to second year, right? Hence, I failed second year. I failed 3 subjects in second year, when that could have easily been avoided had I been more disciplined and actually tried my hardest. That's what I would have done differently, because that means I would have finished my degree in record time instead of 4 years. But yeah. Have you failed a test or an important exam, and if so, how did I bounce back? In varsity, I failed a lot of tests, a lot more than I can count on my hands. I remember in second year, I had a Manfin test and I got 10%, right? And I didn't study for it, so I got 10%, but I went into the exam with 60%. So basically, what you do when you fail is you just need to try harder. You need to tell yourself, you need to look at yourself and reflect on, is this really what you want? Do you really want to fail? You need to come to the conclusion by yourself that, it's not what you want. You want to pass, you don't want to fail. And once you realize this, you will push harder, and eventually you'll reap the rewards in the end. But essentially, I failed so many tests in varsity, and all I needed to do was tell myself that everything was going to be okay. It's one test. One test doesn't determine my whole life. Keep it moving, because if you dwell on the past, it's going to affect you in the future. Question number 8, what would you advise current students on how to study during the pandemic? So as I said before, what I did was I would wake up early in the morning, about 7 or something. So I'd wake up at about 7, I'll take my shower, and 8 I'd start working, right? From 8 I would go on until 2 as if it were a normal school day. So I'd look at my normal timetable and do work through the lecture videos according to my timetable. And doing this helped me organize myself, and it created this pattern for me where it just felt better than doing things sporadically, if you get what I'm saying. So it gave me structure in my life, and it just helped me keep up with the work, because I found that when I didn't stick to the schedule, I would feel very overwhelmed and I wouldn't do things on time. Hence, I fell behind. So when I started doing that, started waking up early as if it were a normal school day, that is when my life felt more structured, and that is how, you know, that is how I accustomed myself to the whole studying during the pandemic thing. Okay, next question. Now that I've graduated, where to from here? So this year I'm going to be doing my postgrad in specialized accountancy, and for those who don't know, that is the ACCA certification. Once I get my ACCA certification, I'm going to write the ACCA exams, and from there hopefully I'm going to write my CFA level 1, 2 and 3 and get my chartered financial analyst qualification. And now back to the first question that I missed earlier. What do you want to be remembered for when you die? So essentially I've not really one person who has thought about this question. And essentially, from my own perspective, I do not mind not being remembered for anything, right? When I die, I want people to remember me as that person who I want to be remembered as that person who was like the nice person, you know. It was the person who helped others, who encouraged others, who did so and so and so and so. Obviously, I know that, for example, your typical answer to this question would be, I want to be remembered as the greatest leader or CEO of this and this company or sportsman or this. But essentially, you know, it all boils down to who you are as a person, you know. And if you're not a nice person, people are going to remember you for that. So although my answer may seem very unorthodox, I just want to be remembered as that nice guy, you know, who took care of others, who tried their best at helping others, who put a smile on people's faces, you know, that kind of stuff. And personally, that to me is better than any other. That to me is better than being the best CEO the world has ever seen or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So essentially, I just want to be the best person that I can be, and hopefully my positive aura, like, I radiate that onto other people, because that will make me really happy as a person. So I just want to be remembered as the best possible person that I could have been while I was alive. And that's it.